Hey everybody, so today I'd like to talk to you about something that's been on my mind recently, and that is kind of the basis of all philosophy, the one statement that can actually be known opposed to everything else that's only believed. That being, I think, therefore I am. This is the only thing that you can actually know. Otherwise, everything else could be just an illusion that your senses are playing a trick on you. And one thing I used to think back when I was religious about this statement is that there's one other thing that you could also know, is that God is real because you could feel it, like you could think it. Like you think, therefore you know you're true, and I feel God's true, therefore he is true, just in the same manner. But now that I am not religious, I realize that doesn't make sense. You can't just say because you feel something, you know, feelings exist, for example. Like, just because you feel happy doesn't mean you know that actually happiness exists. It could just be as much of a sense of your emotions just as much as your sense of sight, and your eyes can play tricks on you. And if nothing can be proven beyond I think, therefore I am, I believe in trusting the most credible sources, the most believable, the most likely of scenarios to be true. It's likely that, you know, because we can actually see evolution happening between it with all of our senses, and because we can, you know, look through our telescopes, expanding our eyesight into the far reaches of the universe and looking back in time in the universe at the same time, we can see the beginning of it and the massive expansion that we call the Big Bang, billions and billions of years ago. And this makes much more sense to me than trying to just believe something that doesn't have any proof, something that you can't actually see. And while I do think that there's some grounds for thinking things that could be true just because you can't see it, like I personally believe that the multiverse theory is very probable and could very well be true, not because it has proof for it, but because it seems like the most likely scenario for me. If anything that can exist will exist, and if it doesn't happen in this universe but happens in another universe, then if somewhere in those universes being develops intelligence to be able to view itself, it would view itself, and there would be people like that. And so while it can't be proven, and I don't know it is to be true, like I don't know anything other than I exist, whatever me or I actually am, I can believe what I want. But what it comes down to is what's the most credible, what you can actually prove, and what you can demonstrate, and what you can do to test something as true that someone else can do. And if they're looking at it logically, can come to the same conclusions instead of blinding themselves, I think ultimately is where we came from, why we exist. We only know we do exist, and it kind of comes down to that question of why. And I think it's so much more beautiful to look at that why question from an open perspective, instead of just finding an answer of religion and saying, therefore it must be true, and I don't have to look at anything else. I think it's much more beautiful to kind of ask these different, ask yourself whether you think these different possibilities are true, to look at something with an open mind and what actually makes sense, what you can actually see with your own eyes if you recreate the experiments these scientists did, and, you know, accounting for probability on whether you get some unlikely result that could have just been unlikely, instead of I don't know, testing a theory on whether faith healing, for example. If you will always be able to find someone who said they had faith and were healed, but what you need to do is not just take your evidence there, but actually find the people that have faith and weren't healed, and find the people that didn't have faith and were healed, and the probabilities and distributions of those people, and find what actually is the most probable scenario and whether that's true. And while there is a placebo effect in faith healing, as like you can give someone sugar pills, and if they think they're going to be healed, they will be healed, whether it's they believe in the medicine or believe in a god, the placebo effect actually can have your mind control your body to heal itself as best as it can, better than it would be able to otherwise. There still comes down to the end of the day on what the actual evidence says and what you can actually go out and look and see is true. And so, yeah, that's my thoughts and kind of rantings about what we know versus what we believe and what we can be proven. So, yeah, if you like this video, give it a like. If you want to hear more from me, subscribe, and have a comment about what I want to talk about next, leave it below. Thanks. Bye.